went back and looked, and I see that you were the mayor when San Francisco first began to publicly fund some help for the homeless back in 1982. And at the time, we didn't know how many homeless folks there were, but you made the effort to start giving some public funding to deal with the problem. Can you talk about then versus now?
I can. It was actually 1981, and it was the first time I had ever seen somebody eating out of a garbage can in San Francisco. And I saw few people that were homeless. And then all of a sudden it began to really escalate. And we had AIDS at the same time. So that year we appropriated $40 million, 20 for AIDS and 20 for homelessness. And that was the beginning of two big problems for the city. Both serious, both rent people asunder, and each was different. So if I look back and I look at this city today, what we thought then is that homelessness would not be chronic, that it was just an instant, not an instant, but a change, and that change would remedy itself. It hasn't. And what was ironic there is almost the same thing was true with AIDS. AIDS then came on and has been chronic in terms of constantly needing medical attention and science and breaking new barriers and doing the things you can. So that was the advent of the beginning of both of those. And it was actually 81.
And at the time you said that, that it really should be a state and federally funded effort. And right now we're having the same debate again about how and to what extent San Francisco alone can handle a problem like this, and to what extent it should be regional or statewide or national.
Well, we've been able to provide funds, and so I'm delighted to continue to do that. I'm an appropriator, so it's helpful in that sense. But these are chronic dilemmas, and new things have to be tried. I'm very proud of the advances that have been made on AIDS. People live longer. I lost a number of really good friends quickly with AIDS back in the 80s. And now that doesn't happen nearly as often. So that's all a good thing. Homelessness, I think we have not made a lot of progress on. And one of the things that I have noticed is that you have people who are homeless who are alcoholics, who are addicts, and we need to solve a lot of problems in that homeless sphere. So my staff has been looking at facilities all over the state, and what I'm trying to do is write a bill to provide for people who are homeless certain therapeutic communities where they will be able to come in and live and also get help with whatever the problem is that made them homeless.
Excellent. And do you have an opinion of Proposition C that the city is grappling with right now? People, it seems like everyone wants to deal with the problem, but there seems to be some disagreement about it.
Well, there is. I have voted for it. I voted absentee, and my ballot has been delivered, so, but I did vote for it.
And I wanted to just shift gears for a minute, talk about the caravan. We've seen the pictures. They seem jarring, even though, you know, certain people like to talk about different statistics, but to see a group, such a large group of folks, you know, sort of walking in one direction like that is, I think for some people, a little different than what they're used to.
What I see is the distance and the heat and the children, the small children, and they have to go for so long, and I wish this just didn't have to happen. It's so I can't give you any prediction as to what this administration will do. I can tell you, though, that I'm absolutely opposed to separating children from their families at the border. And we're going to write an immigration bill that will be introduced probably in January in the next session, and that bill will prohibit this, and it will also do a number of other things to be helpful in the immigration area. That reinforce that children cannot be held in secure facilities for more than 20 days, which is the Flores decision, and work a card, not a green card, but what we call a blue card, for those who come up to this country from South and Middle and Mexico to work agriculture. Those are tens of thousands of people that come every year, and they're here illegally. And so this would legalize them and provide that if they work in agriculture for 5 years using this card, they then are eligible for a green card.
Is there anything that is in the bill or that you think could be done to process people more quickly or keep
Yes.
people from having to?
We need more judges, and we need more staff. There's no question about that, and this bill will provide for more.
Would it also provide for expedited proceedings, or simply more staff?
It's more staff and judges at this stage. We're just in the beginning stages of it. It can change.
Now, you were mayor in '85 when we began our sanctuary policy here in San Francisco for Salvadorans and Guatemalans. Does the U.S. owe a special, is there a special relationship, or do we owe a special debt to people from those countries based on
well, when I was mayor, I was visited by the Archbishop, and the problem in El Salvador, and San Salvador in particular, was attacks on clergy and on nuns. And so the Archdiocese was bringing up some nuns, and that's how the sanctuary city got started in 1985, that we made that declaration to make it possible for those nuns to come to San Francisco.
And I think I know the answer, but I just have to ask, what is your opinion on the president's claims to either cut off or reduce aid or bring the military to the southern border?
Well, I haven't heard the proposal, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm sure it's not good. And my big aim here is to protect families and keep children with their families. And I know deep down he wants to separate children from families. And we see they're developing children's centers all over the United States now. So this is going to become a much more discussed issue, and I hope with some solutions that we're going to be able to come up with.
How do we keep families together without incentivizing people to bring small children or, you know, take dangerous risks? And if people think that if they have family, if they're with their families, they get a special kind of treatment.
If people are destitute and they are put upon by others violently, and they have no other recourse other than to get here, they're not going to leave their children behind. They're going to bring their children. So you're faced with every march toward America with families and children. But to take the children away, and in this case, it was done so abruptly that there was not even a plan in place, and then parents were deported, and children are left in the United States in some kind of facility. That's not America. Not the America I love.